Hello, my name's Hemingway Jones and welcome. Today I want to share with you this very special edition of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. Here in this beautiful slipcase, incredible hardback edition showing Mary Shelley's original manuscript, complete with all of her romantic era hand, her quill, all the strikeouts, and Percy Bysshe Shelley's suggested edits, all in one spot. But what's equally remarkable is the incredible story of Frankenstein and how accumulated grief and loss and one cataclysmic disaster led to the creation of this amazing story and modern myth. So join me today, won't you, as I take on the story, the relevance, and the history of this amazing manuscript, Frankenstein. So to tell this story, there are two essential events we have to address. The first is the birth and life of Mary Shelley, as amazing and interesting as that is. And the second is the largest volcanic eruption in recorded human history. And it's really amazing how these two events weave together. Let's start with the almost unbelievable life of Mary Shelley. Mary was born on August 30th, 1797 in London to two extraordinary parents. William Godwin, the philosopher and journalist who believed in the power of reason and intellectual freedom, and Mary Wollstonecraft, the famous feminist who had written A Vindication on the Rights of Women, where she argued for equality in terms that were radical for their time and still affect us today. Mary was born into this formidable marriage and quickly experienced her first tragedy when her mother died of postnatal infection 11 days after she was born. Mary had a lonely childhood, not through social isolation, but psychologically and emotionally. She lived among adults and spent hours among the books of her father's library and within his intellectual circle that included Samuel Taylor Coleridge and William Wordsworth. In 1801, her father remarried to Mary Jane Clairmont, bringing her two children into the marriage, including Claire Clairmont. Claire Clairmont will be very, very important to this story in a little while. Mary and Claire became close, but the relationship would become complicated as time went on. Mary's stepmother controlled the household closely and often restricted Mary's access to books, though she was ultimately unsuccessful since Mary published her first poem at just 14 years old. Eventually, Mary Shelley was sent to live with her father's friends, the Baxters, outside of Dundee in Scotland, but this was not a punishment. This was actually among the most stable and happy periods of Mary Shelley's life. 2 years later, the events start to speed up. She's 16. She returns to London to her father's household, where the English poet Percy Bysshe Shelley was an accolade of William Godwin, was spending quite a bit of time around the house, and he and Mary started to become close, and she took Percy to the grave of her mother, Mary Wollstonecraft, where she often went to seek solace, to reflect and meditate. Now, the oft-repeated claim that they consummated their relationship on her mother's grave has no historical evidence whatsoever. Now, Percy Bysshe Shelley was 5 years Mary's senior, and that was not so unusual for Regency standards, although it raises eyebrows today. It's hard to imagine someone in their teens having a relationship with someone in their early 20s, but what really was scandalous for the time is that Percy was married. Percy was married to Harriet Westbrook, a young woman of modest background. The greatest scandal emerged when Percy and Mary fled to France to gain a little bit of distance and freedom and to declare themselves as a couple, without Percy being formally divorced in any way. This flight to France caused quite a bit of distance to come between William Godwin and Mary, and the couple was not able to sustain themselves very long in France, and after a few months they ran out of money and returned to England, where they had to move around to stay ahead of the whispers of polite society. Now this is the point where our story really starts to gain momentum toward the creation of Frankenstein. In February of 1815, Mary gave birth to a daughter prematurely, and sadly, the baby only survived a few weeks. Now, Mary was an avid journaler her entire life, and she recorded a most heartbreaking journal entry. Dreamt that my little baby came to life again, and that it had only been cold, and that we rubbed it by the fire, and it lived. This tragic mix of macabre loss would be echoed resoundingly in the story of Frankenstein. Now here's where our story gets really interesting. Nearly on the other side of the world, 13,000 miles away, in a place that's now Indonesia, Mount Tambora erupts in ferocity, putting sulfuric ash into the atmosphere in an amount that had never been seen in recorded history. This changed weather patterns all around the world, making the world colder, leading to crop failures and famine and darkness, low temperatures. England itself was plunged into darkness, rain, and dreariness for months. Even into the summer of 1816, when some other interesting events came together to bring the most amazing romantic poets all in one spot. The summer of 1816 would be known as the year without a summer, or the haunted summer. So how did Mary Shelley end up with Lord Byron at Villa Diodati in Geneva that summer? It's an unbelievable story. And much of it is owed to her stepsister, Claire Clairmont, and her obsession with the celebrity and incredible poet that was the scandal magnate, Lord Byron. Claire Clairmont was infatuated and obsessed with him and had to meet him. She went to London, eventually tracked him down, but when Byron went to the continent and settled in Geneva, it was Claire Clairmont's urging, her will, her not so subtle manipulation to Mary and Shelley to get them to accompany her to Geneva. It was really the will of Claire Clairmont and her obsession with Byron that brought these amazing people together in continental exile. This assemblage of literary icons were expecting a very gentle alpine summer where they could take long, beautiful hikes and have scenery and just enjoy the fresh air. But what they found was a cold, dark summer of incessant rain and storms that kept them confined inside together, sitting around by candlelight, discussing ideas of the day, including galvanism. And galvanism is the idea that with electricity, you may be able to reanimate corpses. To amuse themselves, Lord Byron suggested that they each write a ghost story. Percy Shelley never got off the ground with his. Lord Byron wrote a fragment of a vampire story which would later be developed by John Polidori, his personal physician, be published later as The Vampire, leading to other controversies. And of course, Mary began the story of Frankenstein. In her journal, Mary Shelley describes a waking nightmare. I saw the pale student of unhallowed arts, kneeling beside the thing he had put together. I saw the hideous phantasm of a man stretched out, and then, on the working of some powerful engine, shows signs of life, and stir with an uneasy, half-vital motion. Frightful must it be, for supremely frightful would be the effect of any human endeavor to mock the stupendous mechanism of the creator of the world. Mary herself was haunted by this story, and she continued to work on it as her and Shelley traveled through Switzerland and into the continent beyond. She wrote this story in 2 notebooks, in freehand with her quill, in incredible, beautiful handwriting with all the scratch outs and corrections that you would expect from a manuscript at this time. Percy Shelley helped her edit the manuscript, but he was not a co-author as was originally alleged, and consistently rumored in the years since. He helped with style, he refined the language, he made suggestions, but he did not introduce any huge changes or ideas. The voice of the novel is unmistakably Mary's. This leads us to this remarkable book. This is Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, the Verdigris edition. It's published by SP Books out of France, a publishing house dedicated to publishing the greatest collection of the world's great manuscripts to preserve the world's great literary heritage, a noble cause. It even smells good. So this is not necessarily a readable copy of this book, although you certainly can read it, and once you get into the rhythms of her beautiful handwriting, it becomes easier as you go along. This is an incredible document preserving the shape and form of a more palimpsest writing style. Words are crossed out, rewritten, layered. Her thinking and process remains on the page. This is what's so fascinating to me. This facsimile book is beautifully reproduced from the original notebooks that Mary used and that are now housed in the Bodleian Library. This is far from a simple scan of its pages. This is gorgeously reproduced, making you feel astonishingly close to the original object. For me, this book brings me closer to the incredible mind and expressiveness of Mary Shelley. I love getting close to the creative process. I can almost see her writing this, drenched in warm candlelight, dipping her quill into her inkwell, that beautiful scribing noise of the tip of it as it scrapes words into the page, that beautiful ink as it settles into the paper and slowly begins to dry. She has a gentle rhythm meandering in her handwriting. It's just beautiful to behold. Crossouts, additions, comments, all here in this manuscript. This book is $240. It may be purchased at SP Books website. It's limited to 1,000 copies. It seems to go out of stock and then they restock, so I don't think they've reached the limit yet. You have to be very patient. It's a bit tough to get. It really amazes me how an 18-year-old was able to craft one of the most interesting and enduring myths. It considers the ethical and personal impacts of technology on all of us. As our creations begin to acquire intelligence, autonomy, and indeed lives of their own, Frankenstein begins to read less like a gothic story and more like a potent warning to our times and a challenge to question whether or not, just because we can do something, whether or not we should do something. Frankenstein is a warning that we are only now beginning to understand. I am endlessly fascinated with books, with handwriting, with penmanship, with the creative process, with the incredible coincidences that lead to incredible works, and I think you will be seeing more of this on my channel in the months and years to come. So I hope you enjoyed this video, this look at this incredible book, the story of how Frankenstein was made and its warning for all of us. Let me know what you think in the comments, and if you've reached this point in the video, please subscribe. I'd love to have you on this journey with me. From a pen, we can go anywhere, and we do. And if you would like to support the channel even more, membership is available, and there's a pen pal group for Illuminati and Cognoscenti members, so you could even use your quill to write to us. So I make new videos all the time, and I have a live show as well, so I can promise you we will see each other again very, very soon, further up the road. So take care.